What's up guys, it's Mega giving you another Deathlink Evolution. This guys is a deck a few of you have been actually requesting and that is a Raidraptor deck. This deck is of course my own opinion at the end of the day, and it's completely cool if any of you guys would disagree with any of the cards that I do show in this video. I want to highly stress as well that the new support for the Phantom Knights, you know, like the cards we're getting in Phantom Rage that aren't in this game, obviously. So this deck is nowhere near as strong as it can be, and no offense, Raidraptors kind of do the same thing as Black Wings, but Black Wings just does it 10 times easier because obviously they can all just keep some themselves. Raidraptors, only a few can, but nevertheless, Raidraptors can do a kind of a little bit of shenanigans that obviously that Black Wings can't, such as for instance going into an Ultimate Falcon, which is absolutely sweet. If you enjoy this deck, guys, any deck I've shown, check out the card hub because because if you're struggling to find the cards, it is in there. In there, we'll show you the cards in the campaign, challenge modules, and in the card packs. At any further ado, guys, let's get into the video. Okie dokie, guys, starting us off is, of course, 2 copies of Ash Blossom Joy Springs. She's limited to 2, otherwise you'd run free. Ash Blossom, guys, if your opponent does anything from the deck, like special summon, add a card, or send a card from the deck to the grave, she just shuts it down. Have a nice day, guys. On to some Black Wings. Now, I am running a slight bit of a Black Wing package, and that is 5 cards. It's that simply because, of course, we are doing the Infinite Negate combo, which you can easily do. And I'm not going to lie, guys, if you simply have Black Wing Zephyrs the Elite on board, which you would normally do off your Wystrix, if you have Bora or Chris the Crack of the Dawn, both of them can just special summon themselves onto the field, and that's the reason why I decided to choose these 2. Bora, if you want to just summon Bora, it can attack, it can deal piercing damage, which is nice, and then Chris the Crack of the Dawn can also just deal out, is also just another monster that you can use to special summon itself. And then, of course, Zephyrs the Elite, it can special summon itself from the graveyard by simply targeting a face-up card you control and putting it back into your hand. And you do take 400 damage, but you can only use this effect once per a duel. So normally, if you want to, you can literally go in. You can, if you have Wystrix, if you have Chris or Bora and Zephyrs, you can go into when you summon Zephyrs off Wystrix, you just summon Chris or Bora, boom, go into an instant rank 4. That's what you normally do, and that's why I decided to add them in. Using that Mist Valley, Apex Avian, and Thunderbird because, of course, these 2 are mandatory for the Infinite Negate lock. So you would summon Apex Avian off of Samorg, which we'll get to in a bit. And Apex Avian's ability is, should your opponent activate a spell, or activate any card effect, maybe in spell, monster, or trap, you can literally target a Mist Valley monster on the field that does include itself, return it back to the hand, and negate and destroy that card. And as for Mist Valley Thunderbird, we will be equipping this to Samorg via Union Carrier. And why should we do this? That is the reason why is because it's a Mist Valley card. If your opponent does anything like play a card, Apex Avian, you can bounce Thunderbird back into your hand, and because you've done that, you'll negate and destroy the card. Thunderbird's ability will then activate because it's been added to your hand. You get special summon it. So then that's absolutely great, and that effect isn't once per turn, and neither is Apex Avian. So between these 2, you just keep bouncing this back into your hand, negating stuff of Apex. However, your opponent can break the lock simply by just destroying the Thunderbird. On to some other cards, guys. I'm running 3 copies of Hat Trick just because it's a level 4 monster, and going into our Raidraptor Forstrix is vital, and Forstrix doesn't have to be generic. So it doesn't have to be Black Wings or Raidraptors. It can literally be any level 4 monster. It's a very generic monster. That's why we're running Hat Tricker. So Hat Tricker, guys, you can just special summon it if there are 2 or more monsters on the field. Makes it very easy to go into your Forstrix and Wystrix at the same time. We're using that lone copy of Last Trick, guys, simply because we are running rank up. We are using rank up magic Skip Force. So this card cheeses out Ultimate Falcon. How does that do that? Simply by tributing this little guy, you can summon any Raidraptor exceeds from your extra deck. Your opponent doesn't take no more battle damage, but all you would do is summon out Satellite Cannon Falcon with this card. Then if Skip Force is in your hand, you will just simply play that Skip Force onto your Satellite Cannon Falcon, and you have cheesed out Ultimate Cannon with and you've just cheesed out Ultimate Falcon, all because of this little Lastrix. I'm running 2 copies of Minicry. You can put this card up to 3, but I just found 2 was kind of better for me. Minicry, guys, it shows its true potential when it's in the graveyard. So, all Raidraptors have an effect that trigger when they're on the field. And Minicry's is, during your main phase, you can make all Raidraptors you control gain a level. So that makes it easy to go into Blaze Falcon if you really want to. However, its graveyard ability is you can banish this card from your grave to add any Raidraptor card from your deck to your hand. That's the main reason you run it, and run it because you can search out any of your Raidraptors you need for like a combo extender or combo starter if you just need like that one card. We're running 3 copies of Pain Lanius because it just special summons itself so easily. If you have any Raidraptor on the field, this guy can special summon itself from your hand. You 2 take damage equal to your monster's attack or defense, whichever is lower, and then this card becomes that monster's level. So take for instance our Singing Lanius. You could summon Singing Lanius, play Pain Lanius' ability, you take 100 points of damage, but then Pain Lanius will become a level 4 monster and it will special summon itself. That's how you do it, because just put a free summon. And Singing Lanius is also a free summon if you control any Xyz monster on the field, which is really nice. Then we're running 3 copies of Tribute. Tribute, guys, upon being summoned, you can send any Raidraptor you control to the grave. Oh, any Raidraptor in your deck to the graveyard. Why would you do this? Because you could just send Minicry Lanius to the graveyard, and then Minicry's effect that can add Pain Lanius, and then you've already got 2 monsters on the field straight away just because of a single summon. If you've got another one, you can form your infinite negate lock. If you don't, and you have a rank up magic, you could go into Zexal if you really want to, or you could just go into Force Tricks and add a card that way. Then 3 copies of Vanishing Lanius. This guy gets your combos going simply because if it's on the when it's summoned normal or special summoned, you can special summon a level 4 or lower Raidraptor from your hand. So it just special summons any one of our Raidraptors. Have a nice day. That does include itself. If you have all 3 copies of Vanishing Lanius, they can just keep summoning themselves if you've got all 3 copies on the field. We were running 2 copies of Lure of Darkness simply because of draw power. Near enough, all of our cards are dark apart from the Hat Tricker and the Mist Valleys. So please bear in mind, you might not be able to resolve this, or it might become a dead card sometimes. But just drawing those 2 cards could be key, I kind of thought. And then playing Foolish Burial, this is just another access to get Minicry in the grave for a free search. So between this and Tribute, you're running 4 cards that can dump Minicry, so then you can get its search ability. Monster Reborn for a combo extender in case you only have 2 monsters on your field, but you have Monster Reborn. You can still do your infinite negate lock. You just treat Monster Reborn as if it was one of the level 4 monsters you need for your combo. Using Raidraptor's Nest, this is running this because if you control 2 Raidraptors, you can add a Raidraptor from your deck to your hand. So say for instance you have Vanishing, Tribute, and you have Nest. You can play Vanishing to summon Tribute. You can play Tribute's ability to even send the Minicry to search Pain Lanius, so you don't even. But say your opponent Ash Blossoms that effect, you can then just play Raidraptor's Nest and just instantly add that Pain Lanius to your hand. You still have full combo to do your entire infinite negate. That's why you run Nest, just to help search in case you need it. Some rank up magics, guys. We're running 2 Skip Force and 1 Soul Shade Force. All 3 of them are normal rank up magics, which means they are searchable off of White Strix. Skip Force, guys, can target any one of our Raidraptor Xyzs, and then you summon another Raidraptor Xyz that's 2 ranks higher. That's how you can go from Satellite Cannon into Ultimate Falcon. It does have a graveyard ability where you can banish it from your grave and special summon a Raidraptor Xyz from your grave. So it can just be a free summon from your graveyard, which is nice. And then Soul Shade Force is mandatory for your infinite negate lot because you basically summon off, you summon Infinity with your Force Strix because you target any Raidraptor in your graveyard, summon it back, summon a monster that's 2 ranks higher. So you use Force Strix and then you can go into Infinity because of Soul Shade Force. Really great card, guys. And then of course some traps. I am running 3 copies of Imperm. You don't need to run the Imperm. I just ran this because Blackwings aren't the best deck in the world, and obviously of course you might not be able to go first. Sometimes you're forced to go second. So running that Ash Blossom and triple Imperm, they can just interrupt your opponent and they can just stop them from doing their plays. It's basically an Effect Veiler, but better because Effect Veiler can be called by the grave, infinite opponents can't because it's a trap. You basically target 1 monster on the field, negate its effect. If this card was set in the same, it was set when you activated this card any magic and trap that activates in the same column is also negated. But if you control no cards, you can play this card from your hand. All in all, in Perm, just an absolutely great go first and go second card. And then 3 copies of Phantom Knights of Shade Brigadine. We are running Brigadine, guys, because it's just a free level 4 monster. So basically, you're going to use Brigadine. Like, if you have 2 monsters you can summon, Brigadine will count as the other monster. Then you can still do your infinite negate. Gate locks. That's the reason why you run it. Just treat it as a level 4 monster to go into your 4 Strix, but of course, if you've only got these 2 monsters, if you've only got this and another monster, you can still go into Utopia and Utopia the Lightning, and obviously, if you have a rank up magic on top of that, you can go into Zexal. And then, guys, on to the extra deck. I am running, of course, that in Cyber Dragon Infinity. As I said, you summon it off of your Soul Shade Force. Infinity, guys, is an Omnigate. Should your opponent activate a spell, trap, or monster effect, Infinity negates that ability and destroy. Basically, the same effect as Apex Avian. And also, Infinity will gain 200 attack for each of its Siege materials. So if you summon it with Soul Shade, it'll be on 2,300 attack, which is not bad. And then finally, once per turn, you can target 1 monster on either player's side that's in attack mode and equip it to it. So you can even equip it as an Exceed material. So not only does it like steal a monster your opponent has, it gets stronger by absorbing that monster. Now we are running a little Utopia package. I decided to take out the Utopia double or nothing, simply because it is another Garnet you're running in your deck, and I kind of prefer to do the infinite negate over than running that at like OTK. So Utopia, guys, you barely use Utopia himself. You're either going to use Utopia to go in Utopia Zexal, or to go into Utopia the Lightning. So Utopic Zexal, guys, if you have Utopia and any rank up magic in your hand, you can go into Zexal. So you can simply just discard the Soul Shaved or the rank up Skip Force if you can't do your lock, and then go into this bad boy. It basically will gain 1,000 attack for each of its Exceed materials. So if you summon it using your Utopia, it'll be on 3,000 attack points. And this guy is like VFD, which is basically Calamities, just 10 times easier to bring out. So during your opponent's turn, you use one Exceed material, so it will lose 1,000 attack and defense. But then your opponent cannot activate any cards or effects for the rest of that turn. So it just shuts down their entire turn. Yes, they can summon a monster, they can set cards, but they can't play any spell or trap effects, they can't play no monster effects. Basically, it near enough ends their turn with Zexal. That's the reason why you run it. It's just, if you go first, you can't do your Infinite Negate, you can fall back on that Zexal lock. Using Utopia the Lightning, guys, we're using Utopia the Lightning to just help us push over monsters. This guy can flat out destroy a lot of monsters that are really so he can destroy Chaos Max on himself, because, guys, with you overlay it using Utopia, and then this bad boy, if it attacks, your opponent can't activate spell or traps, so they can't even play their back row to protect themselves, and they can't play no monster effects as well. Also, you can detach 2 Exceed materials, and this card will become 5,000 attack points. So all in all, that's just incredible. So you could just make this guy become 5,000 attack, swing over anything, and get over a lot of pesky cards. Some Raidraptors, I am running that 1 copy of Blaze Falcon, because you can go into Blaze Falcon, and what it does is basically you can target 1 monster on the field, destroy it, which is you can use 1 Exceed material, destroy all monsters your opponent controls that were special summoned, destroy them all, and inflict 500 damage for each, which is nice. Or it can attack directly and deal damage. Obviously, and when it deals, and when it does attack, you can destroy a spell or trap, or you can destroy 1 monster your opponent has on the field. So this all in all can get around pesky cards, and it can attack directly. Using 2 copies of Force Strix, guys, you basically combo extend into for your Infinite Negate. So you would normally go into Y Strix, and then you'll try and summon 4 Strix in the same turn, because then with 4 Strix you can detach 1 Exceed material and add any level 4 Dark Winged Beast from your deck to your hand. You can search out the Black Wings, and you can search out the Raidraptors as well. Revolution Falcon and Revolution Falcon Air Raid. We're running both of these because if you do for instance, your opponent does like shut down your Y-Strix and you do have that skip force, you can go from Force Strix into Revelation Air Raid. And Air Raid, or you can go into Revelation Falcon. Air Raid can basically summon itself using a rank 5 or lower Raidraptor by simply discarding a rank up magic card. So you could even just discard the rank up magic on Force Strix to go into Air Raid. Air Raid, upon being XC summoned, you can target one monster your opponent controls and destroy it and inflict damage to it as inflict damage to your opponent equal to its attack. Nice little burn damage. And if Air Raid is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can summon a Revolution Falcon from your extra deck. And Revolution Falcon, guys, if it attacks a monster that was special summoned, that monster's attack and defense are dropped to 0. And it can attack all monsters your opponent control each if you detach an Xyz material, which is pretty nice. And also, if you summoned it using and also if it has a Raidraptor as attached to it as an Xyz, which you would with Air Raid's effect, you can destroy one monster your opponent controls and inflict damage to your opponent equal to half its attack. So we're running these two just to help. You can just summon them off the Force Strix. Satellite Cannon Falcon, you will hardly summon this out legitly, simply because you would need to use Revolution Falcon or Air Raid with Skip Force or Soul Shaved. What you can do is cheese this card out with Last Strix and then use its ability, and then use Skip Force to use Satellite Cannon to go into Ultimate Falcon. Ultimate Falcon is unaffected by all card effects, which is really hard to out. And also, guys, if it has an Xyz material to it, you can burn your opponent for 1,000 points of damage during the end phase, and you can make them make all monsters they control lose 1,000 attack points, which is just absolutely insane. And you could attach an Xyz material off it if you want to just force your opponent to lose 1,000 opponent's monsters lose 1,000 attack on top of this. So you could just keep like weakening your opponent's monsters with this and inflict them with burn damage, and it's immune to card effects. On some Xyzes, we're using two Raidraptor Y-Strixes. Y-Strixes, guys, upon being link summons another level 4 winged beast from your deck in defense mode. Its effects are negated and you can't use it as link material, but you can use it as Xyz material. So normally what you'll try and do is generate 3 level 4 monsters on the field, go into Y-Strix, Y-Strix summons out another one, then you go into Force Strix using your 2 other level 4 monsters. You use Force Strix to basically search out a monster, because then if a Raidraptor Xyz activates its ability while Y-Strix is on the field, you can immediately set a rank up magic spell from your deck and set it. And then, and here's the cherry on top, you will then link your Y-Strix and your Force Strix to go into Samorg. Normally the card you would set off of Y-Strix is Soul Shaved, because then you will play Soul Shaved Force to basically summon out Infinity using your Force Strix. So then already you have Samorg, you have an Omnigate. Then if you have 2 more monsters you can summon on the field on top of this, which is possible, you can go into Union Carrier and then create the Infinite Lock by attaching your Mist Valley Thunderbird onto some Morg, and then you've created the Infinite Lock. Y-Strix is just 10 times. It's just absolutely great. Using some Morg, guys, if it is summoned, face that, not if it's summoned, itself and any winged beast it points to can't be targeted by card effects, which means if you can play Mist Valley Thunderbird or Mist Valley Avion, next to Samorg, you have an Omnigate on the field that can't be targeted by card effects, which means your opponent can't effect Veiler it, and they can't imperm it. And Samorg, it can't be impermed as well. And during the end phase, during either player's end phase, you can special summon a winged beast from your deck equal to the unused spell or traps on the field. So if there's 4 zones on the field that haven't got like spell or traps, you get to play a level 4 lower monster. If obviously you're going first, it is going to be at best like 10 to 7 unused. You can go into Apex Avian. So you could just summon Apex Avian through Samorg, have a nice day, infinite negate. And then as for Union Carrier, just 2 any 2 monsters we basically have goes into Union Carrier. Its effect is you can target one face-up monster on the field, equip one monster to it from your deck that's the same type or attribute, and then it gains 1,000 attack points. So you would equip Mist Valley Thunderbird with Samorg because they are both wind attributes. Samorg will go up to 3,400 attack points. Combine that with Mist Valley with Apex Avian. Apex Avian with your Thunderbird generates the infinite lock because of Union Carrier. And that's it for the deck, guys. I went on the extra deck a really lot, but the extra deck makes the kind of like does the majority of the work and does a lot of things for your main deck. This deck is kind of fun. I'll say it's maybe a tiny bit weaker than Black Wings, because Black Wings can just do what this deck like does as well, just 10 times easier. But this deck can do some shenanigans with Utopia Zexal and also with your Ultimate Falcon. So guys, if you enjoyed this deck, hit that thumbs up or make a subscribing, because everyone does help out the channel grow. Stay tuned on the replay so you can see how it goes. And guys, the next deck I will do is going to be our Halloween special, so stay tuned for that. You have voted for Vandreads, stay tuned for that deck. And without further ado, guys, take care, have a great day or night, goodbye.